I'm David Fleming from the Disciples Ignited YouTube channel, where we're focused on Jesus, advancing his kingdom, and preparing his disciples. Now, in yesterday's video, we were talking about a revival movement that swept the United States from 1857 to 1858, where literally thousands upon thousands of people throughout the continental United States were praying. Oh, it was powerful. Now, unfortunately, the prayer movement did end in 1858 due to the tension that was taking place in the United States over slavery, which led to the Civil War of 1861 that lasted to 1865. But what I want to encourage you with is this. Even though this prayer meeting from 1857 that lasted through 1858 had an ending, its effects didn't end in 1858. In fact, it covered the globe of what took place because of those 2 years of prayer. Let me tell you about it. The National Prayer Revival of 1857 to 1858 produced fruit that was seen for many years after the prayer movement began to subside. It helped give birth to a revival outpourings that swept the world. In fact, rapid growth in Christian churches and Christian missions were reported in Europe, Western Russia, Australia, the South Seas, South Africa, and India, and they all had their beginnings in the prayers of people joining together in the United States for 2 years. Some of the greatest Christian authors, pastors, evangelists, and missionaries of the century were products of the prayers that went forth during those 2 short years. Now, even though the prayer movement in the United States ended in 1858, in 1860, the prayer revival had spread to South Africa, where it touched the Dutch Reformed Church, pastored by a little-known pastor at that time, a man named Andrew Murray. Yeah, you're right. He is well known today from his many books, devotional books written on Jesus, and many of them focusing in on prayer. He became a prolific author and was instrumental in the Keswick Convention meetings that swept the nations and swept Europe. But it all, I believe, must be attributed to the many prayers that were prayed for God to pour his Spirit out upon the nations. Well, it hit Andrew Murray, and his writings are still being enjoyed today. Now, the evangelistic ministry of D.L. Moody his ministry swept America and Great Britain in a big way. Yes, we can attribute the propulsion of his ministry to those 2 years of prayer in America. William and Catherine Booth, who founded the Salvation Army. Oh, yes. Let's look to those 2 years of prayer that propelled their ministry to have such a global effect. Charles Spurgeon, who became the most celebrated pastor and gospel preacher of his day. Literally, thousands of people all over the world read his printed sermons every week because the newspapers of the day would print his sermons word for word, and they traveled the globe. And then there is a very well-known apostolic missionary named Hudson Taylor that's founded a mission that's established missionaries and missions throughout mainland China. What propelled his ministry? Prayer. Mary Slessor helped change the course of Africa through her missionary endeavors in Liberia. What enabled her to have such an effect upon Liberia and then eventually upon all of Africa? Prayer. Now, although there was no longer a prayer revival as such, the effects of the prayers of God's people were powerful and effective, and they accomplished immeasurable good for the kingdom of God. So while the years of prayer had an ending, the fruit of it never had an ending, and we're still eating from the fruit of it today. So if you're praying, don't stop. It's powerful and effective. See you tomorrow.